Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the Pokemon TCG Pocket's incredibly successful opening weekend. We'll give our thoughts on the game, everything around the release. We will take a look at the new Evolution cards that have been officially revealed that are going to be coming out in our set early next year. We are going to, of course, have everyone's favorite segments of the podcast, guess that flavor text, and then we're going to wrap up this week's episode by talking about a few results from the weekend, the Gdansk Regional Championships, which took place over in Poland, and then also Japan's new Elite Four has been selected. We'll talk about that if you don't know exactly what that is. And then, of course, we will have our bonus episode exclusive to our YouTube members and subscribers on our Spotify. If you guys want to hear more from us every single week, be sure to become a Spotify subscriber or a YouTube channel member to get that extra bonus episode every single week. My name is Chip Ritchie, and I'm joined here as always by my friend and co-host Azul GG. What's up, Azul? How we doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good, Chip. It's content grind as usual. We streamed Dance over the weekend. Dude, for some reason I thought it was this weekend though. This last weekend, not the weekend before. Yeah.
It was this past weekend. Yep.
Restreamed Gdansk over the weekend. And then also been playing some Pocket as well. Been digging Pocket. So yeah, just kind of that stuff. And I'm excited for Surging Sparks, which comes out later today on PTCG Live. If you are listening.
Yep. Yeah, we are
Um
releasing a day later than
yeah.
normal, and our next episode is also going to be coming out a little bit earlier than normal, because next week our episode will be all about LAIC and what we've decided for the big tournaments for the ICs and for Worlds. That week of the like massive tournaments, we're going to be putting out our episodes on Mondays. It'll help us both with travel for those events. Azul's not going to LAIC, but I am. I'm going down to commentate, which I'm very excited about. So helping out with the travel and stuff like that, just getting the podcast episode out there, and it'd also be helpful to people who want to listen to it who are traveling to all of those major tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of stuff coming up in the Pokemon TCG world. Honestly, I mean, we'll talk more about LAIC next week, but
Yeah.
with Surging Sparks coming up, and I'm not going to be at LAIC like you just mentioned. Going to be watching it, doing a watch party.
I mean, it's
Excited
still
for
not too late.
that. Seeing the first IC, but it is like I've as a competitor, I feel like I cared less what the card pool was, but as a spectator, it kind of sucks that Surging Sparks isn't legal. Now that
Yep.
I'm like full spectator for this one, it's like I'm gonna be playing with the new cards the week before, and then we're gonna have to and I'm still excited for it. Like the level of competition is just higher. But if you have all the best players in the world showing up at these big events throughout the year, why not give them the new card? Everyone wants to see them play with the new cards. Like
Yeah.
it feels like it feels like more of an L than it did when we initially like kind of got that information that it was happening. But still excited for it. The first I see of the year coming up, um, stuff like that. But how about you, Chip? How was your week? Anything exciting?
Yeah, week was good. We actually took a little mini family vacation. Not really a vacation, but we took like a little trip down to Clemson, South Carolina, which is where I went to college. We went to the football game this weekend, took Samuel. We've kind of decided that every year we want to like at least make a trip down to one game. It's like a really fun experience going to like a college football game. Clemson's a great atmosphere to do it. Clemson did unfortunately lose in very disappointing fashion to a team that we really had no business losing to. So that was definitely a bit of a bummer, but it's still a good, fun time with the family, taking a nice little couple day vacation, staying in a hotel with Samuel is definitely an experience. But you know, he does pretty good. He does pretty good. But it was fun.
All
Definitely
right.
been playing a lot of TCG Pocket as well.
And I was gonna say because well, I worry about a segue into our first topic, which is gonna be TCG Pocket.
Well, sort of. You know, we're maybe gonna get there. Well, what's up? What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I just remembered that this it was interesting. I think it was like worth talking about. And it made me think of it because we were about to start our first topic for today was gonna be TCG Pocket, but there is like a I don't know if I want to say it's like a really big update coming to PTCG Live
Oh,
this
sure.
week, or it already happened, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Um um and they made some interesting changes. I just linked you Trust Your Pilot's Twitter if you want to go over there, or if you just want to go through Trust's.
Yep, I got it.
Shout out to Trust Your Pilot. Um, Big changes that are coming are they are removing the premium. battle pass, which does kind of make sense because there's no microtransactions. So
Yep.
thinking about it, it kind of feels weird that there is a premium battle pass, but I guess it did reward the players who played the game enough to get the purple crystals to then buy the premium battle pass. But even going more towards the free to play angle than it was before, they're also adding win streaks to the ladder point ladder. So that'll be faster to rank up than it was before. So that'll be interesting. Still not a actual ranked ladder, but the ladder point ladder is changing somewhat. And then also in pilot suite here, um, win streaks and ranked points are being added to the Pokemon TCG Live today. I don't know what the ranked points are. They tease an upcoming system for the most dedicated trainers that they will use ranked points. I don't know what that means though.
It
Like I don't
could
know.
be like a true ranked ladder, you know?
Hopefully, like we're
That would be
missing
really
that.
cool. Did you see Liam Halliburton's tweet this week?
Yeah.
Liam Halliburton put out that he has 5,000 points on
Might be the record to be honest.
TCG
Liam.
Live. Like, that's insanely impressive.
It's a lot. Yeah, I replied to him. You can see my reply right
Oh,
there on
yeah, I
screen.
see it,
If you
yeah.
don't win LAIC, dot dot dot, and he's not going apparently. So we'll be at Sacramento. I like seeing that'd be like it's really cool to see that conversion of ranked ladder grind to tournament placements. I think the two players to shout out most recently has been Raz Wolp and Henry Chow, who like kind of didn't like credit the ranked ladder, but we're like a lot of most, if not all of our testing came from the ranked ladder.
Yeah.
Like they gave props to just like grinding the ranked ladder. So
Liam's been doing this too. I mean, and he won a regionals last year, remember, as well.
I
Like,
think and didn't he tweet out before the regional that he had been playing a lot on the
yeah.
ladder, I feel
I
like?
don't, I think, because he tweeted out that he was at 3,000 ladder points a few months ago. And I don't remember, I think that was after he won the regionals, if I remember correctly.
He also
But
did it before Baltimore. He's Baltimore he did not do that good at Baltimore, if I remember correctly, though.
can't win them all.
Yeah, I can't win them all on that one. But, but I mean, it'd be cool, if he's putting all this time in and playing all these games of Pokemon, if it does lead to the results. Which there
Definitely.
definitely is a little bit of a correlation there, I think. The people who put more time into the game generally place a little bit better on
Oh, for
average.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I would love to see them continue to, like, improve TCG Live, um, but it's pretty wild to see how insanely successful TCG Pocket has been in just
Yeah.
this first week, and it makes you just wonder what the potential could have been for TCG Live, right?
Yeah. It was like a
Um,
long drawn out beta release that just like transitioned into the full release. There was no hype behind it, and it was such a poor client on release as
yep.
well. And we were really hyping it up. That was like the big thing. I was talking like, who knows what kind of strategy card game players will pick this thing up and play it. And we see it so many people coming over from Snap, specifically Marvel Snap content creators. I don't know if they really have tournaments. I assume they have some type of competition over there for Marvel Snap. Can you challenge a friend on Marvel Snap? I assume you can. I actually just know so little about the game.
For a long
Um,
time, you couldn't, but
okay.
I only really played the first couple months that the game was out, and I played it a decent bit, but that was about it.
Maybe there's not any kind of like competition in that besides just playing like the ladder. I don't actually know. I'm sure plenty of people who are listening have played the game. It's pretty popular, so someone can let us know in the comment
Yeah.
section down below.
Well,
Um,
I mean, yeah, we might as well just be transitioned here into our first topic, and it is just
I was gonna
like,
say just one more
yeah,
thing is that they are also getting rid of coins and just going to only crystals. It feels like between that and the premium pass, they like took a
oh, do I
template.
need to go in and spend all my coins real quick
No,
before they
they're
go
gonna get
away?
converted. They're gonna get converted to crystals. It feels like they like took a template for a I don't know, just any mobile game that has a microtransaction and put the Pokemon TCG in it without kind of like thinking about it too hard. And now they're realizing, oh wait, if there's no microtransactions in this thing, why do we have the premium ladder? Why do we have four currencies or three
Yeah.
currencies? It's like these things do not exist need to exist if it's basically a Pokemon TCG almost like free to play simulator more so than anything. We want you to play it a little bit to have to work for your cards, but like yeah, it's basically. I mean, I put $100 into celebrations codes when the beta dropped and I still have like 200,000 credits. So it's like it
Yep.
basically is free to play. And if you want to make any investment at all, it definitely is going to go a long way. So these are all good things that it's good to see that they're making changes, even if they're not around the gameplay or giving us an actual ranked ladder. It's like it's good to see that they are still making big changes and it's not just kind of dragging on. Like I felt like PTCGO was kind of in that state of just like kind of dragging on with no big updates ever. So changes are still being made. They're still trying to make it a reasonable product. So I thought I'd just like shout that out because I feel like this is like a bigger update than we've seen in a while.
Yeah. Well, speaking of reasonable products, TCG Pocket has definitely proven to be a pretty reasonable one. Over 10 million downloads worldwide since the game officially released this past Friday. And IGN also reported that the game launched on October 30th, and in 4 days earned $12 million. $12 million in 4 days.
It's a lot of money. I don't know if that's actually how good that is though. Like how much are they expecting to make? How much did it cost to make the game?
It's
That is like
certainly not $12 million.
yeah. Well, did it to make it?
No.
How much?
I bet this game probably could have been made for, like, under $500,000, probably way less than that too, honestly, like
5,000.
500,000.
Oh, I was like,
Kinda just spitballing a little bit. Honestly, I'm kinda
um,
just, like, talking out of my rear end there, don't really know,
okay.
but
Just out of curiosity, I googled
okay.
Pokemon Pocket, but like Pokemon Go came up. I don't know how reliable this source is. GameMaker.io. How much did it cost to develop Pokemon Go? $600,000, and they
Yeah,
definitely did way better than
yeah.
that. And I don't know what would be harder to make the card game. It's probably similar, right? I feel like neither of them are that intricate. I think it's probably harder to make PTCG Live than Pokemon Pocket because there's so many more interactions with cards and so many more cards to have to worry about, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know if it costs more. It's more difficult to make. I don't know if it costs more though.
Well, Go is probably a lot harder to integrate because of, like, all the real world stuff that has to
Yeah,
happen alongside it, right?
yeah, I could see it.
I would imagine Go is much more expensive to make. I bet this game was not that expensive to build out for sure. Um, but yeah, I mean they're killing it. There's a huge install base already. 10 million is massive. They've earned a good bit of money. But how do we feel about the game? And to be honest, like, and just comparing the digital card game experience between TCG Pocket and TCG Live, playing TCG Live feels like a chore to do what I enjoy doing, which is to play the Pokemon trading card game. It feels like I'm fighting with the client a lot of times or just having to work with it. Playing
Yeah.
TCG Pocket feels like I am playing a video game. It feels like a game.
Yeah, it's a lot more seamless and more enjoyable for that reason. It never feels like it's like the gameplay could be a little bit more fine-tuned in terms of being, like, more a little bit more intuitive, for sure. I hate the space that exists next to your active Pokemon where cards get stuck sometimes. Why does that space exist? Like, if I'm putting the card out there, it's obvious I wanna play it. Like, I don't know why that space exists, or why certain cards, I guess, get stuck in that space. So that's a little bit annoying. But, yeah, there are, like, moments where, like, the animations feel like they drag on a little bit, and, yeah, there's, like, a little bit of fine-tuning, but, like, it's not like PTCG Live where it's like you expect it and you know it's coming and you're dreading playing or you're dreading clicking Gardevoir's ability to then have to take every single
Yep.
energy and put it for your discard pile on a Pokemon. In Pokemon Pocket, like there are little hangups, but it's like, yeah, you're enjoying the experience of us just like playing the game that you're playing in front of you. Maybe part of that is that the games are really, really fast. They're don't take very long to play through a full game, and sometimes you can predict a game by turn 2
Yep.
of how it's gonna go, but, like, it's still enjoyable, and there's still some strategy, still some depth. I played in a tournament on Friday, and, I was making some mistakes. My opponent was also making some mistakes. I was like, "Okay, there's some depth here," there's some back and forth where it's like, I'm making some errors, my opponents are making some errors, and it still was, like, a ton of fun. I really enjoyed playing in the tournament, to be honest. The ladder is a little rough. Because it seems to be no ELO or MMR system in there, like, even hidden. It The quality of play is, like, kind of, I guess annoying in just terms of that there's no real, like you can't climb up to, like, play against better people. So, like,
But they have
I
said
don't know.
ranked is coming.
Yeah, so I'm excited for ranked. I might not play it besides tournaments, to be honest. That's, like, something I haven't thought about. Is I might actually play Pocket except besides tournaments, but I'm really enjoying playing it. Like, I'm really enjoying playing it a lot, overall, especially in the tournament. Yeah, the overall
Yeah.
gameplay on just, like, the casual ladder or whatever is, like, a little bit boring, but I'm excited for that to be a ranked ladder.
Yeah, there's a couple of people who commented last week when we talked about Pocket, like, "Oh, please don't stop like talk about Pocket. Like, please skip the Pocket talk." And, like, we're not get this is not gonna become a TCG Pocket podcast. It is still a
Hold
Pokemon
on.
trading card game podcast. Okay, I'm putting my foot down here. It is still a trading card game podcast.
Chip,
But,
you
like,
can't
this
trade on PTCG Live, but you will eventually be able to trade on Pocket. Which one is more of a
Azul,
trading card
this
game?
podcast is not about the trading card game live. This is about the trading card game, okay?
Alright, when was the last time you traded a card? When's the last time you rolled up to locals with your binder and tried to make a trade?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I did used to hustle some trades though back in the day, bro. I used to show up and I
You're
did
on the come up?
roll out the binder, be like doing the swaps, especially pre-release weekends, dude. Oh man, you get all kinds of
Ooh.
good stuff pre-release weekends. But it's been a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's like obvious. Like this game is massive, and it's around the Pokemon TCG. We are TCG players. We're gonna talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be our focus necessarily, and it's gonna be just a small section of this greater podcast. But I mean, we're having a lot of fun playing this game. I will definitely say the like strategy level. It definitely feels a little bit like the Pokemon TCG for babies. I will say. But the like, it is still an enjoyable, quick Pokemon TCG experience. The card pool is also very small, right? It is just the base set.
Yeah.
So, like, before you pass too many judgments about like how strategic the game could be, yeah, the strategy around the game is always going to be limited by the card pool. So as the card pool expands, strategies will increase. Um, it definitely there's like a little bit more of like the randomness element to it, right? Every single deck is playing two professors research, which draws two cards in this game as opposed to discard draw seven, like in the standard Pokemon TCG. And it's like if you open up with a research pretty early, you're feeling pretty good. You're going to see a bunch of cards. And if you don't find a research until like the game's almost over, you're feeling pretty rough about it. But it's like kind of a quick experience. So it doesn't feel too bad if you lose a game because you just didn't set up, didn't draw super well, because you just can get right into another one.
Yeah, exactly, and it's, like, a little bit more of a, like,
It's like
casual
it's like the
experience.
mobile game experience, right?
Yeah, and I wouldn't even really compare it, like, that's the question I got a lot when I the first stream I did with Pocket was, like, people would ask me, "How do you compare this to the Pokemon TCG?" It's like, I don't think they're just so different. It's, like,
Sure.
it's easy to get into if you're coming from the Pokemon TCG, but, like, like, if someone came from, like, Magic and was like, "How would you compare this to the Pokemon TCG?" I'd be like, "I think you just have to play both games." Like, I don't even
It's a
like
different game almost, right?
yeah,
Like,
there's still Pokemon and, like, the mechanics, there's supporters, there's item
similar.
cards, there's Pokemon, but then there's the energy pool, like, yeah, it's just, like, they play completely differently, the flow of the games are completely different, um, there's, like you're always playing around, like, one thing from your opponent. There's, like, one thing you're playing around or playing towards on your side. Whereas, like, in the Pokemon TCG, I mean, some matchups are kinda linear, some decks are kinda linear, like Raging Bolt, but you like the other matchups can be so intricate and there's like so many options and things to think about. It's just a completely different experience. Yeah, it's a simpler strategy game, but yeah, I still really enjoy it a lot. And I think there's enough depth in it to like keep me interested in it for sure. Like I said, the quality of players on the ladder is a little bit rough because like there's so many new players getting into the game and it doesn't seem to be any kind of hidden ELO or MMR or anything. So you're just like randomly paired against literally anyone. So I'm excited for the rank ladder specifically, and I'll definitely be like playing in tournaments more with it moving forward.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for the card pool, like the next set. Those will be like big, especially probably big times when I'll be playing it more. Will be around now. There's two set releases for me to look forward to in the Pokemon TCG universe.
Yeah, I tried to play in a tournament on Friday, the Ursa Day tournament. I don't know if it's the same one you tried to play or that
Yeah,
you
I
played
was in
in.
that one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
played the first couple rounds, but it was like I was trying to play while we were traveling, down to Clemson. We got settled into our hotel. We're in our hotel. I played the first round. It went fine. We tried to go to dinner, and I'm sitting there like we're trying to get Samuel all situated, trying to order food, and I'm in the middle of playing my like actual tournament game, and I was just like, I can't do this, and quit out of the game and is just like, okay, I'll drop from that one. I'll try to play whenever I can like actually sit down and actually play.
Chip's ready to get back into the competition, bro. He's fiending for it.
I was thinking, I was like, it's all on my phone. I can just, handle everything from my phone and it'll be
You
no
got
problem at all.
You got all these stall players complaining about how their people are milking the clock. It's not someone actually milking the clock to try and make you miserable as a stall player. It's a pokey dad at dinner
Trying to
when
feed
it is
his
yeah,
kid.
trying to feed his kid while he's deciding while he's trying to come up with a way to KO a Mimikyu, right? Like it's not He's just got too much on his plate right now. He's not actually like playing the clock against stall players on PTCG Live. Also,
Oh
another big
man.
update for PTCG Live. I don't think they went far enough, but they reduced the clock from 25 minutes to 20 minutes. I think they should go to 15 in ranked play at least. Someone like I made a tweet out on Twitter and people responded and were like, "But what? Like a casual player is just like people are getting new into the game. They maybe just need a little bit more time." And I'm like, "Okay, sure. Casual ladder 20 minutes, ranked ladder 15 minutes." I don't think any deck, I don't control stall. They don't need more than 15 minutes. You should be able to win in 15 minutes with those decks even. So I would like to see them go a step further. Although that is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that was definitely nice to see that they're just making adjustments and changes to those things for sure. But yeah, TCG Pocket's been fun. I will say I don't think I did exhaust all of the like like I completed all of the solo missions by like the first few hours of having the game. Um, and then I was like, okay, why do I continue to play the game? Like why would I continue to keep because I can't even like grind to open packs because if you play
Yeah,
games on the versus ladder uh or like the random matches or whatever, all you can earn is one shop ticket, but you can only earn up to 5 a day. And that's
yeah,
between people giving you like thumbs up or thanks on your battles or also people giving you thumbs up like on your display boards or collection things that you post um or that you have available so you can only earn 5 shop tickets a day from those things, and then after you and that 5 shop tickets gets you, a few hourglasses, but then the hourglasses also you can only, um they like, once you've claimed them all, they go away, like, you can't claim them all until the shop resets, every month or something like that, I think is what it is. So yeah, it feels kind of because like all you earn from winning a ladder match or random battle is the thanks that your opponent can give you so you have a chance to get a shop ticket or 15 level experience, which is
yeah.
basically nothing.
How many? I don't even know how much experience you need to level up. To be honest.
I mean, it increases with each level,
Yeah,
right? But you earn more experience for opening a pack than you earn for completing a battle. It's like double the experience, I think. It's like 30
yeah.
XP.
You need
Um,
that ranked. They need the ranked ladder, and then hopefully that ties some incentives to like ranking up would be
Like, I
nice.
completed all the premium missions. Like, you're supposed to pay $10 a month for the premium missions, and you
Mhm.
also get to open up 1 extra booster pack every single day. I finished all the premium missions in, like, 20 minutes, I think, or 30 minutes. I don't remember how long it was. It was, like, super fast, and then
Have
I,
you done
like
the? Have you gotten to the Lapras event yet? Have you started doing that?
I've completed the Lapras event.
Yeah, even like all everything.
No, well, I almost completed. I have done everything. I mean, I'm just waiting for the timer to refresh.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
for the 10-minute and 20-minute or 10 win
yeah,
win
I
challenges.
have
Yeah,
done
that's
si
where I'm
I
at
have won
too.
16 out of 20.
Yeah,
And
I've
that's
done
the
most of
last
the.
thing.
I still have quite a few solo missions to do, but I'm caught up on like the Lapras
I
event. I'll
did
get to
do
the
all the
solo
solo
missions
missions. I
eventually.
will say the hardest one by far was the Starmie Greninja deck. Which one was it? Beating them with only fire types in my deck because I was like doing it from the beginning. Like I didn't have like I still only have like
Moltres and
one Moltres
Charizard.
EX in my entire account.
Yeah, yeah.
And I only have like one Charizard EX as well. So that one was kind of tough. And then also winning without them getting any points because it's a Starmie deck. Like they just go turn 290 damage. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? So that one was kind of difficult. But everything else, like I basically did on the first or second try and completed all the solo missions.
Yeah, yeah, I've basically done most things. I put a little money into it as well. I just want to like play the decks. Like I'm not trying to like sit here and grind for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I just want to play the cards. So I put some money into it to get, and I basically have everything at this point. I'm pretty sure.
What's your best card you've opened?
I opened the Charizard, the Immersion Charizard, or
Immersive one?
immersive Charizard, and I think that is the one. That would be the one. That'd be the best one I've opened.
All right, you ready?
All right, what do you got? You
I've
got the
got
gold.
I've got the immersive Charizard.
Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah, let's go. Today, for my one free pack of the day, I opened the Pikachu immersive.
Ooh. Oh, I have that one as well. But do you open that in a pack? I
Yeah.
think someone just got it.
You might have gotten it really early on.
Oh, okay. I thought everyone just got the immersive
No, no,
thing.
no. You
Oh,
just got lucky
okay.
in your you just got lucky in your, like, intro packs,
Oh, yeah,
pretty
I think I
much.
no, I think I literally pulled it in, like, one of my intro packs, and I just assumed everyone got it on the
Nope.
intro pack. Oh.
Yeah, and then I've got
That's like the introduction to the game.
this Pikachu, the
Ooh.
crown rare. Dude, the gold crown rares do look super nice, I
I
will
don't think
say.
I've opened a single crown rare, but I don't
Oh,
even
really?
know.
Because 'Cause I've got 2 of them.
Oh, yeah, I haven't opened a
Let's
single. Are
go.
those rarer than the immersives, or
They are
are they the
rarer,
same?
yes.
Oh, really? Okay, okay, then.
They are
Yeah,
rarer.
I haven't
They
pulled any of
cost more
those.
to craft in the shop, which you are able to craft the cards that you don't have. You earn 5 pack points for
Yeah.
every single time you open a pack, and then you can use those pack points to craft or, like, trade them for cards, but it takes, like, so many packs. So, like, basically, it's 500 to craft, like, any EX, which is the equivalent of opening up, uh, 100 packs.
Yeah,
Like, you gotta
a
open
lot.
up a lot of packs to even craft, like, just a regular EX, and then the most expensive you can craft the crown rares, but it's 2,500 points to do it.
What the heck? Why didn't it you cap at 2,500, I believe,
You
as
do
well. You
cap at
can't.
2,500, but you
Yeah.
can
Is there a
craft
cap
them.
on, like, the is there a cap on the Pika hourglasses, or can you just, like, save those up for the next set as much as
I
you
think you
want?
can save them up.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, I guess you could.
Or is it
I
per
did see some
set?
stuff that said, like, pack points will be
Set
locked
locked.
to the first to, like, the set that you open them from, right?
Yeah, I saw that as
So
well.
these pack points are locked to Genetic Apex.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, it really makes you realize how free to play PTCG Live is once you play this game.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to build good decks and play with them, like, it is it I don't know, it feels, uh, really hard. Like, it feels difficult. Like, it feels
You definitely if you want to, like,
overtuned, but
get
I don't.
all the cards quickly enough to play in these tournaments and,
Yeah.
like, if you look at like, we should actually pull up and look at some of the, results of some of these
I wonder how
tournaments.
it compares, though, to something like Snap, because I never really got into Snap or anything like that. But it kinda reminds me, like, back when I first started playing League of Legends, you had to, like you had to grind for, like, a month. You had to grind for a long time to get enough blue essence, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. I forget what it's actually called, back in season 3 to, like, get a new League of Legends champion. Like, you had to grind much more than, Pocket.
Or
Like,
could you pay?
you could pay, but if you wanted to go free to play to get, like, a new champion in League of Legends in season 3, like, it was absurd, and nowadays it's,
Well,
like, way
see,
easier.
and that's the thing I don't
Um
like right now about Pocket is that you can't just sit there and grind games to get more stuff to
Yeah.
open packs,
And that's,
right?
like, my only real comparison to, like, really, because that's, like, the only other game that I've really played, whereas there's been, like, some kind of, like,
Like,
actual paywall to playing the game.
I think that you should always get a shop ticket from a Thanks, like, not be capped at 5 a day, just let people grind it if they wanna grind it.
Mhm.
They maybe you have them, capped with how many you can earn in the shop or whatever, like it is right now, but, like, have it reset every week instead of every single month, right? So, like, people can because right now, like, if you just play the game regularly and you use your shop tickets, you can open up 2 packs a day, and that's it. And then, like, every few days, you'll be able to open up a 3rd pack because 'cause you've saved up enough shop tickets to get hourglasses to wind the timer down enough. So every couple days, you can get that 1 extra pack. Of course, the premium pass also gives you 1 extra pack, which is, like, fine as well. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't really have a good, like I was saying, like, League of Legends back in season 3, which is, like, 10 years ago, is my best comparison for when I played, like, pay to win. I don't even know how how you really wanna call it, kind of game, and then comparing it to Pocket, like, Pocket is definitely easier to get new stuff to, like, play with. You don't have, like, an infinite you could just play infinite games of League of Legends, and you'd be able to accrue
yeah.
the currency, whatever it was called back in the day, but, um yeah, I don't really have a good comparison for, like, to Snap, but it does feel pretty hard. It does feel pretty difficult to, like, especially because, like, I feel like a lot of people are coming from playing the Pokemon TCG. Like, if you're, like, more of a collector person, I feel like you probably don't care as much. You just, like, put together whatever cards you have and play your deck.
Yeah.
Um, I think you're, like, more there for, like, the opening packs experience. But then, like, the players who wanna play, like, people who are probably coming from Marvel Snap a little bit more, that's not really like a Marvel Snap isn't like a collector simulator, kinda like Pocket kinda can be. Um, and then, of course, you have, like, all the people who play the Pokemon TCG or even, like, play the video game and stuff. Like, I actually played against, one of my opponents was a They got like second place in VGC in 2014 or something, World Championships. So that's pretty cool. There's like some
Oh,
crossover
jeez.
there, playing against some
Yeah,
competitive
I
Diggin
know
players.
Joe Ugarte was playing this, who's a really good VG player. Um, I've seen, Judy, who's a good
Yes, that was
VG
it. It was
player.
Judy. It was
Okay,
Judy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's been posting on Twitter. Yeah, here's Joe right here, Joe
Yep.
UX9. He made top cut at the Ursa Day tournaments.
Oh, those Pikachus, man. The Pikachu
Yeah,
Zapdos is
Pikachu is just, like, the best deck, it feels like,
it's
for these
I don't think
tournaments.
I think it's the Raging Bolt of the format. Like, it's
Yeah.
the most popular deck because it's just attached to peak twice and swing.
It definitely feels like Gardevoir might be like, Gardevoir Mewtwo might be the best deck, but, it's definitely less consistent than
Inconsistent. Yeah,
Pikachu
yeah.
is the
Yeah, I
biggest issue. Is
played
this you?
yeah, 5 and 2, you know?
Why's your name
No,
not
that's
Azul
not me, that's
GP
not
on
me.
here? Okay, I was
That's
gonna
not me,
say.
that's not me. There's a different Azul. I don't remember going 5 and 2. What did I go? 3 and 2. No? Where am I? Dude, am I here?
You went 3 and 5, buddy.
Oh, I forgot to drop. I was 3 and 2 and then I dropped.
A likely story.
I
Oh, yeah,
think.
you
I
played
don't actually
Judy, okay.
remember. Yeah, I played Judy, then I won the next
You
round, then I'm
got
pretty sure
cooked
I
by a
dropped.
VG player, dude!
Dude, he had Starmie and he was cooking me. I literally didn't even remember my
You were
record. I was like,
playing Lightning!
"Dude,
Oh,
it's
dude, what is
close."
this deck? This deck is
Yeah,
terrible.
dude, I just wanted to try out Magneton. I was just cooking, bro. I don't know. I didn't know the game. All right. I had a close set against Judy, if I remember correctly. I think it was
Mm.
close. Magneton's cool though, but it is inconsistent. Yeah, you gotta play some faster cards for sure. I haven't played it yet, the Pikachu Zebstrika thing. That one
Yeah,
looks
that looks
cool.
like that's what's been doing really well in a lot of these tournaments is Pikachu Zebstrika. It won the what was it? This one that had 169 people. Oh, wait, no, not this one. Oh, this is your deck. Hold up. This guy cooked
Hold
with your
on.
deck?
What the heck? They stole my list. Where's my credit?
Derek.
The heck? Derek? I
What
actually
was
probably
it?
stole it I think I probably stole it from Derek.
True. Yeah,
I don't know
this
how I
deck,
came to my conclusion.
this if you look at this tournament, it's like all this Pikachu Zapdos Zebstrika deck. A couple people played Electrode, but yeah, it's mostly Zebstrika.
Yeah, the Zebstrika is pretty cool. The snipe. Like, so much about this game, like, there's so many ways to abuse the fact if your opponent doesn't play X speed or like Sabrina to like trap something in the active or just put like an inconvenient Pokemon in the active
Yeah.
and snipe around it. Hope they don't have X speed. Like actually like
I
I
think
don't
the
know that like
nice
back and forth is cool.
one of the nice things about Zebstrika too is that so like the rules in TCG Pocket are a little bit different than the normal Pokemon TCG rules. If you go first, you don't get to attach an energy, but you can play a supporter. And you also can attack if you somehow are able to going first. Like if you
Misty.
Misty, yeah, you can
That card
attack
is
going first. Which is like definitely the worst way to lose a game is Misty three
yeah.
heads, Articuno KOs your only Pokemon. Anyway, um, but one of the nice things about Zebstrika is that if you start a Blitzel, it's a one energy attacker that you can on your second turn have a 90 HP Pokemon in play that can do decent damage, right?
And 30 anywhere. Like a lot of people like rely on their active getting KO so then they can match your active with their new Pokemon
Yeah.
and then try and gain an edge in like the kind of resource trade. It's like you got the first KO, but you didn't knock out anything with energy. Now they're gonna knock out the first Pokemon with energy, so you have to be able to respond to that. You can't do that if they never KO your active Pokemon and they're just striking it
Yeah.
off the bench.
I
Um
would like to play in one of these tournaments too, and I would like to try this deck, but I have zero Zapdos EX. And I'm in the position where I've already spent some money on the game, and I'm like, do I really want to spend more money on the game
I got a couple
to
extra.
try to get
If you
Zapdos?
when trading comes in, Chip, I got you.
Oh,
As soon
let's
as
go.
I have a couple extra Zapdos EX I could give you.
Azul's gonna hook me up.
I might want that gold Pikachu though. I'm just
Whoa, whoa! That's one thing I actually heard about the trading is that you can only swap equivalent rarities.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were gonna do something like that, some kind of limit, and they'll probably put out some kind of you probably have to have a trade limit or like some kind of extra currency that you
Yeah,
need to like make trades.
some people have speculated that you'll need shine dust in order to make trades, which is
Yeah.
like the what you use to add flair to the cards right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's what they did in Pokemon Go, I think as well. You have to use Stardust or whatever
Yeah, that's
it
right.
was. Um yeah, do some kind of star. Yeah, Misty, honestly, dude, Misty the Starmie Articuno deck.
It's
I
good
play with that
too.
a little bit today. Dude, it's like you'll get tails on all your Misties, but then you'll still win. But then you'll get a heads and the game is just over. Like I
Starmie's
hate
just really
Misty.
good, dude. See, that's
Yeah,
another thing too, dude. I have no Starmie and only one Articuno, so it's like I'm never gonna be able to build this deck.
I crafted an extra Articuno on accident. So I thought I
Oh, that's
forgot
an
to check.
L.
I forgot to check my full arts, and I had a full art Articuno and a non-full art Articuno.
That's an L.
Yeah, that's 500 but I can trade it to you. I just would like
Aw,
an
thank
X
you.
speed in return.
Let's get it.
Um, yeah, this deck is honestly Misty is a pretty cringe card. Like I think it should be one energy only. Like you shouldn't be able to turn one Blizzard somebody.
Yeah.
Like I think it should only give you one energy. Because yeah, if you
Still
go
on a flip?
first, yeah, still on a flip. If you go first and then turn two Starmie, get ahead, it's like that is so it's like unbeatable. I don't like Misty. Playing against it is miserable. Playing it, even when you get tails, it's like, okay, I chose to play this card. I got tails, but I'm still two attachments away from a Hydro Splash, and I still just win anyways.
I
Like
mean, it definitely is also balanced out by the fact that Lightning is far and away the best type in the game right now, it feels like.
a bit, but typing doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter that much.
I mean,
It matters for like the little cheeky stuff where you can like punch with a Pikachu and then follow up with like Pikachu EX or something. You get like that 40
you can
damage in there.
Zebstrika, put 30, and then Pikachu's one hit KOing everything, especially with like a Giovanni or something in there.
I one hit KO the Zebstrika with my Starmie, so
Okay, and that's fine. The Starmie, the Zebstrika already did its work. Then your Pikachu one hit KOs the
nope,
Starmie, and then you
nope,
got to flip a bunch of heads on your Misty to only do 80 damage to the Pikachu.
that didn't work that way. You're behind an attachment because you attach your Zebstrika and then I knocked it out. You're done. You're cooked.
Mm,
Already
yeah, maybe.
strategized for this.
um,
And we're all still seeing like you can look at looking at this list. You see stuff like this Marowak deck. And part of this I think is like I think it's probably pretty obvious what the good decks are and probably what the bad decks are. But the game is like simple enough where it's like, just playing well on tempo like can always lead to some dubs with kind of like anything, which is like not necessarily a negative for the game because it is a more casual game overall. But even like with the new promos coming out from the Lapras event, like we see a Primate deck that didn't really exist as far as as far as I know
yeah,
until now with the promos from the Lapras event. There's like promo cards being released because there's a Mankey that hits itself, which lines up with your Primate, which is
right.
more damage if it has damage on it. So
Yeah, it's definitely cool. Like already in the first week of release, like I was kind of bummed on the game after the first day because it was like I did everything. I completed all the solo missions,
this is it. This is the whole game.
and then I was like, okay, I can play against random people, but for what? For nothing, basically. Like I can play 5 games a day to get a thanks, and that's it. Um,
What
there
if they
was no
don't
like,
thank
there's
you?
no like progression, but
You
then
thank
they've
every
added, like, a
time.
couple of events. There's, like, the Chansey Wonder Pick event that's going on right now, to give you a few more hourglasses, some event tickets. Um,
Wonder Pick is fun too. To be honest, I actually like that. Like
yeah.
checking up on them, see if there's any good stuff in the in the Wonder
Have
Picks.
you gotten anything really good from a Wonder Pick yet?
A couple full arts, like alt arts or whatever, of like some of trying to complete the collection or whatever.
Have you been
I'm not like
playing this
super
is
invested in that, but I'm
I th
progress.
alright, from knowing you, this is gonna be a big test for, how much you enjoy the game. Have you played it not on stream?
Yes, yeah, I
Alright.
have, yeah.
So he actually does like it. He's not just lying, guys.
Yeah. What was I saying earlier? Oh yeah, do you thank your opponent every time?
Of course.
Yeah. Right.
Do
My
you not?
I was getting scolded on stream earlier because
Bro,
I
I think
wasn't
less of
thanking.
you if you don't thank your opponents. What's wrong with
You
you?
get into the next game quicker if you click the X instead of the thanks. It's just like I'm trying to
Oh,
grind.
man, wow.
I guess it's not the ranked letter. Like I don't know. You just get to the next game quicker. I don't know. I really like the other thing that's kind of cool is like the especially for like the tournaments. Like you just can create like the password and then you just send them the password and then you can queue up against each other 3 times in a row really quickly if it's a best out of three. Which most of the tournaments have been best out of three. And we've actually already seen people doing like alternate formats in it too. Singleton, I saw a singleton tournament, and all these tournaments are getting like 100 plus players. There was a
Yeah,
singleton, and then there was a no or only one star Poke only one prize Pokemon, no two
dude,
prize Pokemon.
the Ursa Day tournament that is this Saturday,
Dude,
it has 1,000 people registered.
yeah. Honestly, a big part of that though is I mean, it's new, but the cash pricing as well. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you got 350 up for in cash for the pricing. Yeah. So make sure, and it is full right now. Shout out to Ursa Day for running these tournaments. It is full right now, but I was on the waiting list for the last one on Friday, and I missed round 1 because I didn't realize that the
Dude.
I was on, like, the I was, like, in the 250th slot or something on the wait list. So, like, there's no way I get in. It's a 500-person tournament. I'm, like, number 700 something, and then I missed round 1 because I got into the tournament, and then I played from there. So I started 0-1, started to make my comeback. But, the tournaments are super fun for
Yeah, it's
sure.
definitely
A
cool
little
that
more
they have the
competitive.
cash prizing as well, like that.
And they're, like, all cash pricing. Well, there's nothing else to put up. You can't put code cards like they do with
Yeah.
the PTCG
You can
Live.
do Apple gift cards.
Yeah. So I feel like that's like a but even, like, if you look at the one, like, I mean, Urshidae's got the 350, but the one above that, what, Pocket Legends League number 6 is 500 USD, and it's 608
It's
players.
50
Oh,
USD,
50
50
USD, that's what I meant.
USD.
I knew it was lower. 50 USD, and there's still 600 players, which is, like,
Yeah.
pretty sick. Um, a lot of people getting on these competitions. I wonder if we're gonna ever I wonder if there's gonna be a problem for Robin's site eventually, and it's gonna be too much traffic on the tournament site because of Pocket.
Nah, Robin's got
Because
it on lock.
these tournaments have been, like, popping. They've definitely been popping, which is really cool to see. Really, really cool to see. I think, yeah, like, it is a lot of my understanding is a lot of Marvel Snap, content creators and stuff are playing it, and that's bringing over, like, a pretty big audience over to the game.
I'm not
People
gonna
have played
lie,
that.
I was playing it so much the first, like, couple days, it made me kind of, like, miss, streaming and how, like, I
Really?
use yeah, it made me, like, wanna get the equipment to set up the stream once again.
Yeah,
I might stream one of these tournaments or something like that coming up.
it's coming back.
I did think about it, yeah. I would just be streaming at random sporadic times for literally, like, 1-hour increments probably would be the only issue. It's like, "Okay, Samuel's taking a nap. I'm gonna go stream for an hour and a half, and then, okay, we're done with the stream."
Yeah. But yeah, Pocket, big dub overall, I think. Dude, I've, like, seen like I said, I feel like it's so funny to see people kind of hate on Pocket in terms of
Like the hardcore TCG players.
yeah, like, people will ask me, like, "So how much are you actually gonna play this game?" It's like and I know what they mean by that. They're like, "When are we gonna get back to PTCG Live?" And I,
Yeah.
like, like, later today, if you're watching this right as it drops, I'm gonna be streaming Surging Sparks, over the weekend. I probably won't play Pocket again until next week. And then we have LAIC next week. Like, I'm still very invested in, like, the Pokemon TCG, but I am gonna put a decent amount of time into this game. At least for tournaments, like, playing the ladder's pretty boring. Like, even with, like, a new deck, I'd rather play a new deck in a
Yeah.
tournament. Playing the ladder's pretty boring, but I'm excited for ranked ladder for sure. Definitely excited for ranked ladder. So I'm gonna be playing a decent amount of Pocket as competitively as you can. Um, but yeah, big dub overall, I think for Pokemon.
Let's move on to our next topic here, looking at some of the new cards that have been revealed recently. All the Evolution cards from Terrestrial Festival EX over in Japan, which will be our Prismatic Evolution set in January, have been revealed. We got translations. We're going to use Pokebeach for this one. We got them lined up here. We talked about the Eevee a couple weeks ago whenever it first got revealed. I think it's important to just rehash it real quick as we talk about these because it's kind of the enabler for all the different things, right? It's Terra. It's got the Terra attribute and its ability Rainbow DNA. As long as you can play a Pokemon, or sorry, you can play Pokemon EX that evolved from Eevee onto this Pokemon to evolve it. So you can all these Pokemon EX here evolve from Eevee, and then also you can put them onto the Eevee EX, provided
I
nothing
didn't,
is turning off its ability.
I didn't realize it had to be Pokemon EX, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean that you can't put the non EX EVs, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
inter
what this
I
says at
didn't
least. Yeah.
realize yeah, I didn't realize it had that in there, because I think there are like, those are these are these EVs that are gonna be a bit none of them are that great as far as I know. Um, wait, are these all ones we've had for a while?
I think so. This
Yeah, okay,
says
we
all 8 of the evolutions will have alternate art reprints in the set. So these are like reprints of existing evolution cards, I believe.
do we have these?
I think
Maybe we
so.
do.
Like,
Some of these we'll probably see play. Yeah, so there's the EV that's really broken, and then there's the EVX is good,
yeah,
right? And
see,
then
like
there's
this is the Espeon right here. 30 plus and then 60 for the attack.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, while you're there on bring up the EV as well, because this is, like, a big part of the for anyone who doesn't know about this EV. Wait, is
Oh,
it
it's
out yet?
no, it's in Surging Sparks.
Oh, there's an EV coming out in Surging Sparks that on your first turn, as long as it's in your active, um, the first turn you put it into play or on your first turn, if it's in the active, you can evolve it immediately, which I think is gonna be a big part of the kind of flow and tempo of this deck, I guess. Yeah, there it is with the boosted evolution ability. Oh, it's 50 HP. I thought it was 60. I've been
Mm-mm.
saying 60 for a long time now.
It's a little guy.
As Dusclops is coming after it, unfortunate.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get into some of these other cards. Let's actually, before we get into the evolutions, let's look at these two trainers here. We've got Amaris, draw 4 cards. They finally gave us a draw 4 supporter. But then, of course, it does have a big drawback, as all draw 4 supporters seem to have in some way. At the end of your turn, if you have more than 5 cards in your hand, discard your hand.
Yeah. So I actually think this one, it's maybe good. The
Yeah.
problem is that I think the problem with draw four supporters right now is they're contending with Culver's Experiment, which sees 5, takes 3, lost zones 2, which there are obviously drawbacks there, but lost zoning cards, like getting rid of cards in the Pokemon TCG for most decks, if any deck, is just like not that big of a deal. So it's hard for draw four supporters to be better than Culture's Experiment right now. But this one, in general, and Culture's Experiment will rotate with rotation. We do have like Kofu, which is also a contender for like best build on my hand supporter. But I don't know. This would like in some kind of like one prize deck that needs to play a lot of supporters, and you can go through your hand pretty aggressively on the turn. I could see it being okay, to be honest. Obviously, the drawback is pretty brutal if you are
Yeah.
not able to clear out your hand.
Yeah.
You need like Galarian Meowth to come back so you can guarantee clear out your hand or something.
Some way to just guarantee
Yeah.
discard cards from your hand. Amaris into a secret box. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
There
Never
you
should
go.
get it though.
Then we've got Max Rod, a new ace spec. You, of course, can only play one ace spec in your deck, and then choose up to 5 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile and put them into your hand. I saw someone make an edit of this card, and they just made it. It said
Yeah.
5 night stretchers.
Yeah. That was a pretty good
Yeah,
meme. And then like the whole car the whole that whole meme thing is like pretty funny to be honest, actually.
yeah,
There was a quote from Excalibur on the card. Like it's just ridiculous.
yeah.
Kind of stuff is always funny. But yeah, this one seems pretty mid. The only thing that I've seen people talk about is like maybe with Golden Go, it's pretty efficient, but like the thing is that there's just better cards for every
Yep.
situation you'd want. Like, we have Super Rod, it's not your A spec. We have Night Stretcher, it's not your A spec. And nothing really needs that much
It is a
recovery.
it's a cool card, but you can only play one ace spec in your deck. So like
Yeah.
there's really just no reason to play this over some of the existing ones, at least as far as I can think at the moment. Maybe something comes up in the future that
Yeah.
enables this a little bit
I
more,
mean,
right?
one thing I do really like is we've said that quite a bit, and then it always kind of finds its way. These kind of cards find their way into a deck, so that's like always something that kind of comes up. I feel like no matter how much we say it, I think we said that a lot about a lot of the ace specs, and
Yeah, and then everyone
they
just
kind of
plays
pop
Prime
up.
Catcher, right?
No, they like pop up in like a deck, right? It's like, oh, that is cool, and that does make sense, and there is that synergy there where this maybe makes sense more than than
Yep.
Prime Catcher.
And then Prime Catcher
Um,
wins the tournament. Yep.
yeah, and then Prime Catcher wins the tournament, and then the more evolved version of the deck plays Prime Catcher, but it was in there for a short time. I think Golden Go is getting probably a more powerful ace spec option over Prime Catcher in the Pro Energy Search or whatever it's
Yep.
called.
Energy Search Pro, I believe. Oh, also speaking of ace specs and only one, some people did point out in our comments last week when I talked about my pre-release tournament how the judge told me I could play 2 ace specs. That is actually something you are not able to do. You're only able to play 1 ace spec even in a pre-release. So,
Chip confirmed cheated
you know
at an
what?
official sanctioned Pokemon tournament
Honestly,
competition.
I'm gonna support ticket myself.
That's the honorable thing to do, Chip. We all appreciate your sacrifice. You have to take that L.
Let's look at these evolutions. So we've got a Leafeon EX here, stage 1, 270 HP, grass type, weak to fire, 1 retreat. Of course, all of these Pokemon will have the Terra attribute. And its attack, it's got 2 attacks here for a grass and a colorless. Leaf Typhoon, 60 times, 60 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. And then Moss Agate for a grass, fire, water, 230 damage, and then heal 100 damage from each of your benched Pokemon.
First thing, is that how you say it? A gate? Or is it?
I have no clue.
Yeah, no, I was struggling with that one when I did like my evolutions review video. I was like, whenever I can't pronounce it's funny. So now people on the podcast will know this. Whenever I can't pronounce a name, I just say like second attack or something. Whenever I like am like reading through a card, I don't think I'll be able to pronounce it correctly. I'm like in the second attack, or I'll be like, and then for a grass, fire, water. But honestly, that's like so the first attack is I don't know, it's like so easy to play around, especially like if we're looking at decks right now that put a lot of energy in play, the Dragos and like the Raging Bolts. They can play around that pretty consistently. Charizard doesn't have to put 3 grass energy in play with its ability, you can just put 2. Um, so they can play around it as well. The second attack, though, was a little bit more interesting in terms of, hey, you go up against a Dragapult or some other future spread deck, healing 100 from each of your bench Pokemon. Like this, that's like pretty good.
The big problem with all of these second attacks is just going to be how are we getting the 3 necessary energy on this thing?
Yeah, I mean, like the big combo, like we talked about the EVs earlier. The big combo with this deck is definitely going to be Earthen Vessel and Glass Trumpet, right? Radiant Greninja. You can trumpet to your colorless Pokemon, which are the EVs,
Yep.
and then the EVEX is a Terra Pokemon, which enables your trumpets, right? So the EV deck is definitely going to be a Terra deck centered around the
Terra
trumpets.
Terra Bull deck.
Maybe do you play Area Zero would also be a question. There's a lot of evolution. There's 8 of these things, 8 of these evolutions. So there's a lot of options. None of them seem like overwhelmingly powerful, though. Is going to be a big part as we get through the
Yep.
rest of these.
We've got Flareon here with the Burning Charge Fire and colorless 130 damage. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. And then Carnelian, 280 damage for a fire, lightning, and water energy. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack.
Yeah, so it's got the big 280, which the Vaporeon and Jolteon also have. But the first attack is really the big draw for this one. Is it gives you a way to like set up your following evolution. 150 isn't like a huge number. It KOs Ogerpon though, right? Chase
130,
doesn't
yeah.
pawns, so that's pretty good. And then yeah, you set up your next evolution. Also, it could like help with like setting up some more I don't know, like a little bit of a harder attacker to set up that requires like energy. You only play like one ofs or something. Maybe you play like multiple, or you only play like one dark, one psychic for some of the following ones we're going to take a look at here. And then this is how you set it up more consistently is with the Flareon. So the Flareon seems like it might just be like a staple in any of the evolution builds, to be honest. Which there might
Got
be multiple. There might be multiple ways to play the deck.
We got a Vaporeon EX for a watercolorless heavy squall. This attack does 60 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon EX. This one, by the way, as well has 280 HP and 2 retreat, so it's a little bigger than the other two. And then its
Tank.
next attack, Aquamarine, 280. This Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. The energy requirement here, a fire, water, lightning.
Yeah. So same as the Flareon with the big attack, and then the first attack is like a spread. You can't just win with that though. I don't think, especially with a lot of Terra EXs running around.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be setting up for some kind of like TM Devo play, or like sometimes there's been I think this hasn't come up in a while where you like play something that spreads damage to then set up for your bigger attacks because the big attacks are like just a little bit short of KOs. So that could be like involved. Like you could spread against Charizard or like Dragapults, do 60 to like 2 Dragapults, and then get in there with the 280s
Yeah,
afterwards.
do 60 to 2 Dragapults that have the Terra
Yeah.
attribute.
Play canceling cologne. No, I'm joking.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, never mind. It's something that is not dude, the amount of times I have messed up against Dragapult and Charizard with that on PTCG Live is just so high, man.
Professional Pokemon player, by the way.
They just need to get rid of the Terra attributes. They need to get rid of it.
Glaceon
Unless I miss it.
EX, 270 HP, 1 retreat, weak to metal. It has Frost Bullet for a water colorless, 110 damage, and then 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. And then Euclase, perhaps? I don't know. Knock out one of your opponent's Pokemon that has exactly 6 damage counters on it for a grass, water, and darkness energy.
Yeah. So there's obviously some synergy there between that one and the Vaporeon. Spread the 60s, and then whatever the second attack's name is, knockout, right? But besides that, this one feels pretty weak. Because that means you have to like definitely be playing Vaporeon for its first attack, which also feels pretty weak. And then this one overall feels pretty weak. The first attack is like okay, but it's not really better than Flareon, I don't think. I don't know how else we'd like get 6 damage counters on anything. So I feel like this
Yeah,
is
I mean,
good.
that effect is incredibly strong. It makes me think of like Evil Tall GX, right? Something that have 4 damage counters on it, you could just knock it out. But that was a basic Pokemon that could be attacking for just 1 energy card, right? This is a
Yeah.
little bit more working with it, so it's a little tougher.
Yeah. Although for the the only time Eevee GX saw play was when we were playing like 4 Zigzagoons, 4 Scoop of Nets in uh
Yeah.
Were we
People
playing that
played it
then?
in, like, Zoric Decidueye, I think, before that.
Did they?
Mhm. I don't know
Oh,
how
yo,
good
you yeah, I don't think it was good though. I don't remember it being, like,
that deck was just
good.
kind of a pile because it, like, had so much going on. It was, like, Zoroark, Decidueye, Ninetales, and then you also slipped in this
Yeah.
Yveltal,
That
like,
deck was yeah, that deck was definitely a pile. I definitely don't remember it being a staple, but that definitely,
people played
um
it. It wasn't necessarily a staple, but yeah,
yeah, it technically existed.
yeah. But yes, what Yveltal GX was definitely best with Zigzagoon stuff. In like it was used in Eternatus, I think, most effectively.
Yeah, but even then it
Also
wasn't good then, I don't think.
Galarian Obstagoon played it as
Ooh,
well as like an
true.
option to clear something. And that deck was like pretty decent, I think, at the time.
Yeah. It did get top it
Top
made to the
four?
top 4. Was it the finals?
Top four at OCIC, I believe.
Yeah, okay. That might have been it, yeah.
We got Jolteon EX here, 260 HP. It's the littlest one so far, but it's got that free retreat. You love to see it. Jolteon, of course, super fast. And then it's got Flash Spear as its first attack, Lightning Colorless, 60 plus. You may discard 2 basic energy from your benched Pokemon. This attack does 90 more damage for each card you discarded in this way. So you can get up to that 240 for 2. It's not too bad, but it's not really 240 for 2 because you also have to discard energy from the bench. So it's really 240
Yeah.
for 4.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, like, the obvious lineup is against, like, a Raging Bolt, right? That number, maybe a V, but, like, yeah, you have to have so much energy in play, and then if you get return KO'd, you're losing a lot of energy. You may as well just do 280 with the first attack
You may as
or the
well just
second attack. Um,
play Raging Bolt.
Figured it out. We were playing the wrong deck to begin with. Pack it up, pack it up. But yeah, it seems it's okay.
We got Espeon EX with Psych Out for a Psychic and 2 colorless. So this is the first one of these EXs that has more than just a 2 energy requirement for its first attack, but it deals 160 damage, and then you discard 1 random card from your opponent's hand.
Yeah.
And then its second attack, Amethyst, for a Grass, Psychic, and Darkness energy. Devolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by shuffling the highest stage evolution card on it into your opponent's deck.
Yeah, so that second attack is actually pretty interesting to be honest. It does synergize once again with the Vaporeon, right? The spread 6, and then you could like de-evolve, I don't know, like if you spread to like a Pidgeot and a Charizard that's in the active, or a Dragapult that's in the active, or some Dreepies, whatever. Or you can't spread to Dreepy with that attack, 60 EX Pokemon. Something like that, and then you go for the de-evolve. There could be something there. The cool thing about this specifically is that it shuffles the Pokemon into the deck when you compare it to something like TM Devo. TM Devo puts it back in their hand. So your opponent is only a rare candy, or I had a stage 1 in play away from just putting the stage 2 back in play. So definitely a way more powerful de-evolve attack there.
And then we've got a Sylveon EX here, Magical Charm, 160 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks do 100 less damage. And then its second attack here, Angelite. Choose 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. They shuffle those Pokemon and all attached cards into their deck.
Yeah.
If one of
So
your Pokemon used Angelite during your last turn, this attack can't be used.
the second attack is pretty powerful. Um, Because yeah, I mean, kind of if you think about it, like how often, especially against like more setup based decks, do they actually have Pokemon set up? Like how many do they have? Like Charizard, they're not gonna have 3 Charizard. You go up against like maybe something more like a Regidrago deck, where this could be like really, really strong against Regidrago. The problem with Sylveon EX by itself, I feel like, and probably why we haven't seen it like kind of have like any success over in Japan since they've had Sylveon EX,
Have they had
is
it?
yeah, they've had it. They had it. They got it with Sarah Ledge.
Oh,
And
that's
then the
right.
battle
Yeah,
deck,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's had like no success. Is because like you have to commit a lot to play this card. You need to play Water, Lighting, and Psychic Energy, and then it by itself, even with that attack, is just not good enough. But I feel like if you got some other evolutions involved that can hit pretty hard, like we got the Water Lightning already involved in this attack, so then you could be playing it with the Flareon, right? And then you have a 280 attacker. You also have a thing that can set up energy. The attack becomes like pretty good, to be honest, if you have something to back it up. But I feel like the 160 is not a good enough backup.
You said we have the Water Lightning, so you can play the Flareon.
I mean, the Flareon takes water, lightning, fire. We get fire and psychic
Yeah,
involved. The
yeah.
Flareon sets up our Sylveon. Also, like another thing to mention with the Flareon, Vaporeon, Jolteon is they are just a maximum belt away from one hits on like the Charizards and Dragon Balls and
Sure.
stuff like that.
Something else as well with the Sylveon, like, they already have this Sylveon, but they've just gotten the boosted evolution Eevee, right? They got
Oh,
that
really?
after the Sylveon.
I'm
I'm
actually
pretty
not sure if
sure.
that's true. I think they maybe got that with the Sylveon.
Oh, it came in the theme deck with it?
Yeah, they don't have the
They
EVEX.
don't have the EVEX, right? Which could be a
Yeah,
big deal because you don't have any of those trumpet plays available. And then finally here, we've got the Umbreon EX. As long as this Pokemon, oh, so why do I always go to read the Terra thing initially? All right, its first attack for a dark and two colorless Moon Mirage, 160 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. And then
pretty good.
Onyx for a lightning, psychic, and dark energy. Discard all energy from this Pokemon and then draw one prize card.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a pretty big investment to draw a single prize card for sure. You could do so many other things and draw 2 prize cards, or maybe even 3 prize cards. But there definitely are situations where you could, like, trap you can't KO a 2 prizer, so you could trap something in the active, Iono them low, and then just go draw a prize card, right? And it doesn't trigger stuff like Pheasantipity, right? Because Pheasantipity needs your opponent to have taken a knockout, whereas this wouldn't take a knockout, right? None of your opponent's Pokemon were KO'd during your turn, so something like that could be still pretty good. It has its niche situations. Are there gonna be too niche is gonna be the question. But overall, yeah, the first attack is kinda garbage, to be honest. But
They
second
did
attack,
also already reveal all of the special illustration rares for each of these cards, which I think has got a lot of people. I know this is not something you care too much about, but this set is going to be very pricey to collect for. I think almost definitely.
what was the meme I saw someone tweet? The Pokemon's infinite money glitch or something, and it was just, like, all the sets that have evolutions or something, I think is what they
Yeah,
had listed. Um, yeah,
dude.
definitely dude, alright. One thing I will say, though dude,
The Evolving Skies Umbreon is like well over $1,200 now.
is it
The
already? Really?
Umbreon VMAX.
Damn.
It's like kind of crazy.
The I don't know if it's I don't wanna say it's the collector community in the Pokemon TCG. I'm gonna say it's the investment community in the Pokemon TCG is so cringe when I ever see them whenever a new set drops and I see their posts pop up on my Twitter feed, I'm like, "Bro, if you like the cards, get the cards. If you don't, don't." But it's just like it's just insanely cringe. It's like, yeah, it's just so cringe.
It's
Like,
like
I can't
Finance Bro Pokemon
yeah,
Edition.
I like this is just like there's way better ways that you can more safely probably invest your money where you don't have to think about it. And they're like over here like discussing if there's enough hype around the evolution leaks that just got revealed. And it's just like I can't handle it. I can't do it. Ah,
You're not trying
also,
to invest, Azul?
no, no,
But those are the
not in the
new
Pokemon cards.
evolution cards. I personally, I think they all seem pretty bad. I don't think there's anything there that we've seen so
Dude,
far that seems like we're gonna see
come on,
any of
chill.
these seeing competitive play.
I'm gonna go ahead and say there will be a competitive EV. Dude, the EVEX and the EV are so good.
Yeah, they're
Like
really good, but then you evolve and you're like, wow, all of my things that I can evolve to are terrible.
I am holding out hope. I'm gonna say there's gonna be a competitive, at least tier 3 deck. Maybe not on release, but at some point. Maybe
Someone will
but
get top
also,
32 at a regionals with evolutions.
I mean, even if they get top 32, I wouldn't maybe call it tier 3. Like I said, Raging Ball was tier 4 after it got top 8. So
It won the tournament.
well, I don't think it was tier 4 when it won the tournament. I think I had a little bit higher than that. Um, at other points in the meta. Um,
You were hating on it pretty hard going into Louisville.
I said it was like fine. I said it was fine. I also said the best way to play it is probably with Bravery Charm. Um, I will say though, one thing they print a lot of is evolutions. I don't think they're gonna stop just because they have an evolutions themed set. I don't think they're gonna stop printing evolutions over the next 2 years, right? So Trumpet and the EVs will be around for a little while. Gotta wait for the evolutions to come along. I actually are the no, they are right. I don't know what the trainer cards are EXs still, right? I know they're 2 prizes, but they're still EXs,
The
right?
trainer cards?
Yeah, like we're not losing because EVX can only evolve into EX Pokemon.
What are you the trainer cards are
The
EXs?
like ends Zorark.
Oh, oh, oh. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, okay. Because like, yeah,
yeah,
EV can only evolve EVEX can only evolve into EX Pokemon, so I was, like, thinking ahead to that. So, yeah, there will be more EVs for this deck to work with in the future.
yeah.
In its lifetime, I'm predicting you know what, I'll go a step further. In its lifetime, it'll at least be a tier 2 deck in a metagame.
I think this will be just as successful as EVGX was.
That thing was pretty bad.
People played like a Flareon thing in abilities
Oh,
art, I
yeah.
think, for a while, right? So there was a time, but
What
that
was
was
the
because
reason for that? I don't remember.
I think it was just like decent.
Like, traded well into something so you could actually win a matchup, I remember. When someone explained it to me, I was like, "Oh, okay, that kinda makes sense, I guess, sure." Maybe it's mirror match, it might have been
Oh,
mirror match.
I remember. I feel like I used or I played against either I used it or I played against someone who used it in an abilities art deck because the Eevee the Eevee like tanked a hit against
Oh, that's why, yeah.
Malamar, and then you
The
evolved, and then it healed all the damage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the base attack did, like, 100 damage, so you could, like, KO an
yeah,
Inkay or something, and then they would punch you with Tina, and then you'd evolve it to the Flareon, and you get another punch. Yeah, and it'll
yeah.
give you that advantage in the
I
prize
don't
exchange.
remember if I played that or if I played against someone who had it.
Yeah. I remember that was, like, one of the reasons I think Tord said he played Super Scoop Ups in his abilities art was, like, to get the prize trade edge against
Malamar.
cleans up your Dedennes, but also, like, for the Malamar matchup.
Yeah. Everyone was super unsure about Malamar heading into that Worlds, and then it flopped insanely bad.
It's, like, the most popular deck too, right?
I think it
Played
was really popular, and it just
Yeah.
did terribly.
Yeah, because it was
No
terrible.
one had good lists.
Yeah,
People
that's
were playing
true.
Ultra Necrozma.
Pretty cringe, not gonna lie, it's pretty
Yep.
cringe.
All right. I think it's time as well to move on to guess that flavor text. But of course, before we
Course.
do, we got to take a moment to thank our fantastic sponsor, Dragon Shield, for supporting us here at the Uncommon Energy Podcast. Of course, Dragon Shield makes some of the best card gaming and tabletop gaming products. We, of course, use their sleeves for every Pokemon event that we go to. We've also, used their deck boxes, binders, all sorts of great TCG products. Be sure to check them out. Azul, did you I think mentioned last week that you were maybe going to go to another pre-release this weekend. Did that end up happening? Use any more Dragon Shields this weekend?
No, no pre-release for me. Um, it ended up working out. I was a little bit tired after the Gdansk
You're
restreams.
just not ready to grind the pre-release.
I mean, I was like, I'm always catching flack somewhere. It's like, oh, you didn't stay for the whole tournament to watch. You're not down for the content grind. Like,
You just can't win.
I did stay up for all of day one this time. I didn't even have to nap. Like, I did take a nap as well. After day one, later in the day, I didn't even take a nap after day two. It's like I adjust like immediately. Like the second day, I'm like fully adjusted. It feels like, but then I can easily just go back to my sleep schedule, which is nice. It didn't ruin my sleep for the next couple days.
Of course, a big thanks to Dragon Shield. And if you want to use the same products that we use, be sure to go to their website, dragonshield.com, and use our code UEPOD. That's UEPOD. Get yourself 5% off, and it also helps to support us here on the podcast. Also, with the holidays and Christmas and everything coming up, get the trading card fan in your life some new sleeves. I promise you that's something that every trading card player will always be able to use is a new set of sleeves. Perfect Dragon Shield, a box of Dragon Shield sleeves, the perfect stocking stuffer without a doubt.
Definitely, for sure. All right, Chip. This week for Guess That Flavor Text, I am picking a card to read the flavor text to you for you to try and guess which Pokemon belongs to that flavor text. You have 4 points if you don't use any lifelines. For each lifeline that you use, one less point. The lifelines are what set the card is from, what stage the card is, and then read an attack name on the card. Currently, you're in the lead, 32 to 26. I did get the last point scored with a Charizard, and then we have not been able to guess it the last two times. I'm pretty disappointed in the last one, to be honest. I thought I for sure guessed that it wasn't Rowlet. I was confidently sure it wasn't Rowlet, and then ended up being Rowlet.
Yep.
But I got a card picked out for you, Chip. You ready?
I am so ready. Let's get it. I am currently leading 32 to 26. Let's see if I can increase that lead.
Every time I read, man, every time I read a flavor text now, I always like I'm second guessing and like overthinking it. Like I'm like, oh, but they're like, I could see how this could lead Chip down the line, or like this seems like it stands out as being like some part
Just
of
read
like
the dang card.
lore where Chip is gonna get it like 100%. All right. Even though its helpless, gaseous body can be blown away by the slightest breeze, it doesn't seem to care.
Huh. Gaseous body. Okay. So, All right, read it one more time.
Even though its helpless, gaseous body can be blown away by the slightest breeze, it doesn't seem to care. Emphasis on the breeze. There's no emphasis on the breeze in the flavor text.
I mean, wow, there's like I think there's been some. I think we had a Skiploon or Hoppip card that was something similar to this, but they're not really a Pokemon that has a gaseous body. I think one of the obvious things is to think about like Ghastly or something like that, or coughing, but those feel a little too obvious. Also, I don't think they get blown away in the breeze. Other Pokemon that I think about when it comes to like getting blown away in the breeze would be like Eldegoss potentially. But that doesn't really have a gaseous body, I wouldn't think. Could be Drifloon, I guess, or Drifblim. I guess Drifloon or Driftblim could have a gaseous body. Um, but I don't really think of them initially as having that. I probably will need a little bit of help here. So let's start with what set the card is from.
Unified Minds.
Okay. Okay, Unified Minds. So that is the Mewtwo set, the Mewtwo and Mew tag team sets. There's also Darkrai Umbreon GX in that set. What else came out in that set? That's not the Malamar set. Were there any good Malamar cards in there? Was there a Drifloon? It does tell me it definitely isn't like Eldegoss, which is something I thought about. Um, I do not think there's a Hoppip Jumpluff, or Skiploon in that set. Let me hear what stage the card is.
It is a basic.
Okay, so I mean, I'm leaning pretty heavy to Drifloon right now, but that feels like almost too obvious. Gaseous body. What is this thing? I guess it could be Cosmog, but I don't think that there is Cosmog in Unified Minds. And then let me have an attack name. I'll go ahead and use all the lifelines here.
Splash.
I think it's just Hoppip then, I guess. Hoppip, or does Cosmog have Splash? Was there a Cosmog in Unified Minds? Is Hoppip's body gaseous? I mean, Splash, like the main Pokemon I think of that have Splash. Obviously, Magikarp is like number one Pokemon that has Splash. It's obviously not Magikarp. Um, I do think Hoppip has Splash. Um, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go with. I think I'm just gonna go with Hoppip. I think Splash makes me lean more towards Hoppip, so let's go with that. Hoppip.
All right, Chip. It is not Hoppip.
Dang.
One final hint. It
Okay,
is a
let's hear it.
it is a card that you thought through.
Is it Cosmog then?
It is Cosmog.
Dang.
I don't believe there's any other of the evolutions in this set. There's just a lone Cosmog.
Really?
They're all psychic Pokemon, right? Oh no, there's Metal. Oh yeah, there's not Metal either. Yeah, I think it's literally just a lone Cosmog.
That is so weird. There is just a lone Cosmog. Yeah,
Hanging
well,
out.
yeah, because it a Cosmog evolves into Cosmoem, and there's no like Cosmoem would be next here.
Yeah. And it is
Rando Cosmog.
I got kind of scared because of the splash attack. Because like even I know Cosmog, like a psychic Pokemon having splash is a little weird, like in the Pokemon TCG. So I was like, there's got to be some like the connection that can be made in the video game why Cosmog would have splash. So I got to was like, I really pick Cosmog. It's got
Does
splash.
it learn it? Hoppip does. I don't know if it learns it in the video game.
Cosmog or Howpip?
Yeah, Cosmog. Hoppip definitely does. I know that.
Howpip stays splashing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Learn set by level up. Yep, it does start with Splash. Tough.
Never lucky on this one. Cosmog. Like to me, that seems
Ah,
wild that it has splash, an attack name splash. But I suppose it's probably not that crazy.
dang. Yeah, it's like the only attack it knows. Look at this. It's level up move set. How many attacks do you think this thing learns?
3.
2. Splash and teleport in its debut generation.
You gotta have teleport. You gotta have that as a backup.
But
Doesn't keep the splash
now it learns
effective.
Splash and Teleport at both at level 1, but in Gen 7 when it first got released, level 1 Splash, and it doesn't know Teleport until level 23. This thing is literally useless until it evolves. I don't
When it
actually even know when it
evolves,
evolves. Level 43.
Jeez, man, you have to have that thing splashing and teleporting in your freaking inventory
I don't
for
even remember the exact lore and how it worked in Sun and Moon. I did play Sun and Moon when they came out, but I have not played them since they came out. I did not play Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Um, I think you just get at the end of the game Solgaleo or Lunala. I don't, and then you also like get Cosmog. I think I don't remember exactly how it works, to be honest. Someone in the chat will let me know, I'm sure. But dang, yeah, I definitely feel like I could have gotten that one. And it was, like you said, a Pokemon I thought through. Ended up going with the Hoppip because I couldn't picture the Cosmog.
splashing.
Well, really, I couldn't picture a Necrozma or
Yeah,
a not Necrozma. I couldn't
Solgaleo.
picture a Solgaleo or Lunala from Unified Minds, and I was correct. There is no Lunala or Solgaleo in Unified Minds. There just for some reason is a Cosmog in the set.
Yeah, it's, like, gotta be one of those cards where it's, like, a promo in Japan or something, right? And then it's just, like, we eventually got it.
Yeah,
Or one of the battle starter whatevers. I don't think they're just throwing out random Cosmogs like that. Although maybe who knows? Maybe the next set there'll just be a Cosmog in there, like in the evolution set. Put a
what a
Cosmog in there.
bummer. What a bummer. Definitely feel like I could have gotten that one. So missed opportunity for a point there, but it's all right. I've got a very comfy lead at the moment.
I think it was like a little bit of a risky pick for me. I'm not gonna lie. I think like the pieces that I was putting together, I was like, why it could be risky. I think is definitely true. All right. Well, we had some tournaments over the weekend, and let's first one we can talk about is we did have good dance, of course, but we also had the Elite Four tournament happened over in Japan, which is there's a tournament that they have not at the beginning of every season. At least that's like one major tournament into the season, which is like right now. They've already had one Champions League where they have the previous year's Elite Four plus some contenders, I guess you would say, or challengers is what I think they called them this year when I like tuned into the stream. That's like the label of the challengers, the people who are challenging the current Elite Four. Um, and then they're kind of like ambassadors of the game a little bit. Like I think they are in like some like promotional stuff for like the content for like the competitive scene over there. Also being one of the Elite Four, I believe, like gets you entry into like some of the major tournaments consistently throughout the season as well. So it's a pretty big deal to be part of this for players, to be honest, because of how big of a I don't know how hard it is to get into these big tournaments over in Japan, like the lottery system and everything like that. So
Good, definitely.
um,
Yeah, I think a lot of the Japanese player definitely consider it like an honor to be one of these people because you are like sort of an ambassador of the game, but you're also like considered one of the best in the game. Because most often, how you qualify for these uh, to like become to potentially become a member of the Elite Four is due to your finishes at Pokemon tournaments. Like I think whoever finished highest at the World Championships as a Japanese player gets like a spot in the tournament. It's like whoever was doing it last year, whoever won the Japan Champions League, like all these things,
yeah,
um, or Japan Championships, I should say. And yeah, there that event did happen, and it's a little interesting to see compared to like looking just at like City League results. What did the genuine like top tier best players in Japan choose to play? And there's definitely some familiar names here if you follow like the Japanese tournament circuit. Like obviously, I think everyone knows Daichi at this point. He got second
yeah,
place at Worlds in 2022. Nachi Nezu here was the Japan Championships winner, which is like basically their national championships back in
13 or 2023, excuse me.
2023. Yeah, whenever Worlds was in Japan. Ryota's had like insane finishes at Worlds.
Yeah.
Top 8 and then like top 4 in 2022. Also has tons of
Mhm.
Champions League results as well. And then Shuma is someone who has gotten top uh 4 and second place at these Champion League slash Japan Championships. They were someone who's I was less. This was the name I was like least familiar with, but just looked them up on Limitless real quick, and it's like, oh yeah, like still a top, definitely like a top tier Japanese player to have that level of success at those massive level of events is very impressive for sure. And here's the decks that they chose to play for the tournament.
Yeah, and I think just, like, off of my knowledge, I'm pretty sure Ryota and Daichi have been, like, part of this 4 players for, like, 3 this is, like, their 3rd year in a row, I wanna say, and I think the other 2 might be newcomers, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure because I remember watching it, like, last year as well.
Yeah. So
Um,
first couple of decks here, it is a pair of Raging Bolts, and both of them did choose to play Slitherwing as their single prize Pokemon.
also no Bravery Charms, so a little bit more aggressive builds here.
Yeah, and that could be like a medical thing, right? One of the things that so it's really kind of interesting when you're preparing for a small field event like this, where
Yeah,
there's only how many people was it 8 people or 16 people that the got to play?
it wasn't very. I want to say last year was 8. This time around, I'm not sure. Whenever they pulled up the bracket on the stream, it made it look like it was like more than 8, but I didn't actually like 100% try and figure it out. But it wasn't a ton.
Um So, whenever you're preparing for, like, a small field event like that, though, you kinda can be a little aggressive with deck building decisions,
Yeah,
based on what you're predicting the other people to bring. And so, like, one of the matchups I think that, like, Bravery Charms are strongest is against, like, a lot of the Dusknoir decks, the Terapagos, the Palkia, right? They are also pretty good against Lugia as well, but if you're not predicting like those decks to be brought by a lot of people, then yeah, no bravery charms necessary, right? Just focus more on consistency or like tech options, which it seems like was done here. I think this first one is Shuma's list, and the next one is Nachi.
and there's not actually.
Um,
Are they playing the same 60? It's close, right?
does look pretty,
Ooh, okay. There's an Iono in one, not in the other, and a Briar.
yeah. So more tech supporters here in this list from Nachi.
Yeah, pretty close. Nothing
And
crazy.
then we've got a Charizard list here. This one was what Ryota played.
Yep.
Nothing super crazy in this one either, I would say.
There's the cart. There's the new A spec.
Oh,
The
sure, sure.
what is it called? I don't even remember what it's called. Something cart.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I have one because I got it in my pre-release, but I think my backpack's downstairs.
Anyone who doesn't know what it does, it's an item card that when you play it, you can just fill your bench with 5 Pokemon from your deck. It feels like there's still a decent. There's still like 2 Nest Ball and 2 Buddy Buddy Poffin, but it does open up some space in the deck for sure.
Yeah.
Overall, um, you
Y-
see like comfortably fitting like the Dusknoir line plus 4 Charmanders plus Manaphy, 2 Counter Catcher, 2 Boss. Like
Honestly, I could see this being the deck that it is best in, right? Like giving up on Prime Catcher or Unfair Stamp, or Hero's Cape. I guess Hero's Cape is maybe one of the stronger A spec choices in Charizard right now.
yeah,
Could be a little bit detrimental, but like
it makes
if you're
Dusknoir a lot better in the deck as well because like it's like
yeah,
yeah, just having that extra piece and play to work
you
with.
don't have to Poffin for Charmander Duskull, right? You can board for all of them. You can get everybody, right?
You get
Or
the whole
cart
squad.
for the squad. But then by far the most interesting deck here is what Daichi chose to play, and that is Archaladon EX.
Yeah, which is like a new card we're gonna be getting here in Surging Sparks. They've already had it for a little while and over in Japan, but it has not been a very successful deck, I would say, overall in the City League results. But like, obviously, don't put too much weight in those. But yeah, Daichi chose to play it here with a pretty unique build. Definitely something I haven't seen. I definitely like the lack of Luxray in the build, but it is in replaced with the Starmie, which I have to imagine is for the Raging Bolt matchup, right?
Yeah.
Because Archaladon only does 220 damage, which is a little bit short on knocking out Raging Bolts. You do get the Ogerpon KO, but it's probably nice to be able to effectively get a one hit KO on Raging Bolts as well.
Yeah, so for those who don't know this Starmie here, its ability once during your turn, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, and then if you placed any damage counters in this way, you discard this Pokemon and all cards attached to it. And he is playing 4 Night Stretcher here, so we can use the Starmie a bunch of times, theoretically. And then
Yeah,
there's also the A-Spec choice here, the big fan. I don't remember what this is called, but it
Megaton
discards
Blower
all tool cards and special energy cards from your opponent's Pokemon. Is that right?
and a stadium.
And a stadium.
So you
Yeah.
could like
So,
double Pokestop or something, I guess, if you don't play up against Lugia. But it really is there for Lugia, or honestly, Braver Charms against Raging Bolt. Let them put their 4 Braver Charms in play,
yep.
punch a couple Raging Bolts, blow away all the Braver Charms, and then Starmie gets in there and takes a couple big knockouts. That's kind of cool as well. And it's a very aggressive build, right? Pokestop, Stretchers, Vessel, Pokemon Catcher. There's 4 Pokemon Catcher in this build. Um, Only one Turo, which is kind of sad because it feels like how much Turo synergizes with this deck is really cool, but faster is better, more aggressive is better, so only one Turo in here, unfortunately, which I'm a little bummed about because Archelodon with, like, Turos seems kinda cool, but we're in a pretty fast format, so
We are in a pretty fast format, so it's, like, nice to just still have the option, right? If you do find
yeah.
yourself in a slower matchup or in a situation, like, maybe against a Charizard or something like that, where getting that healing is good, and, of course, there's, like, a Palpad in here, so there's an option to do it more than once, but, yeah, just the consistency of 4 research, triple Iono as well, the Pheasantipity for the draw power. But, yeah, this is by far the most interesting deck, and
Yeah.
I think I know what I'm gonna try first whenever the new set comes out now.
Yeah, Daichis or Chaladon. It'd be really cool to see actually it be able to compete with like the other big dogs in the format currently or in the format after Surging Sparks. So it definitely like feels like looking at the I mean, that's why it's like that's what's really cool to see that, even though the set's been out over there, all the cards have been out over there for a couple weeks now. Archlodon's not been doing that good. This build specifically hasn't really popped up, but now all of a sudden we see Daichi, one of the best players in Japan, kind of shows it off here. And it always makes me excited a little bit more excited for seeing what the rest of the world brings to this set because yeah, only Japan has had access to the card for a couple weeks now, right? I mean, people might have been testing like behind the scenes, but it's kind of like Pocket really wasn't that big of a deal when it was only released in New Zealand, but then when the official release came out, like worldwide release, all of a sudden there's so much more happening and people caring about it and talking about it. So it's the same thing with Surging Sparks releasing this week.
We also, of course, do have the results from the Gdansk regionals that we can talk about here. And the event was won by the Italian stallion, Alberto Conti here. I don't know if people call him that. I'm calling him that now. So, Reggie Drago V Star. And yeah, pretty straightforward list. There's no Noctowl hoot hoot line in here. It's got the
Or
jamming
else.
tower, has the cologne. Pretty just good, solid, consistent looking list.
Yeah, super straightforward. I mean, Drago, one of the best decks in the format, been for a little while. Um, Probably was a little bit worse of a play here than it was at Lil after it did kind of dominate Lil, but still able to get the dub in the end. And I think what's it called had a rough one of the decks that like generally feels like it has like a like slightly favorable Drago matchup. It was like Lugia had a rough matchup overall, so it was like one of its one of its foes was, I guess, taken care of. But yeah, it's cool to see Alberto get the dub. To be honest, because he's actually had since he started playing the game. For anyone who doesn't know Alberto, he came over from Yu-Gi-Oh a couple years ago now. I want to say, couple
Post-COVID.
seasons. Yeah, post COVID, and like his results for how long he's been playing the game has been pretty impressive. He was pretty good at Yu-Gi-Oh as well. I know he had some achievements over there. But yeah, he's already racked
Dude,
up.
look at the wall of Tina.
Yeah, he had a couple top eights last season, and already picked up a top eight at Lille as well. He was one of the Dragos that was kind of making waves over in Lille, and then the next tournament, back to back tournaments in Gdansk, picks up the dub for back to back Drago dubs. So it's cool, super cool to see Alberto get the dub like specifically. We're following
And
his like story in the game so far.
yeah, and of course, getting the dub as well over the game's best player, Tord Reklev, in the finals. We see Tord finding himself back into a finals, not quite able to close it out. But he was playing his Terapagos deck that he has been rocking since what was that first regionals?
Well, he did play Lost Box at Lille.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so he went Terapagos, Lost Box, Terapagos, and Terapagos is definitely a deck that's been a little quiet for a couple tournaments, I feel like, but making some noise again here with Tord getting to the finals. I feel like the biggest standout piece for me when looking at like Tord is the Bouffalons. Like
Yeah.
we don't really see many people playing the Bouffalons. Nico Albus was on the winning in at Lille with Terapagos. Did also have the Bouffalons, and it's funny. Tord maximally trying to throw off his opponents by playing both Duskulls. So you have uh, a chance to open with either of those and then fully throw off your opponent as to what you're playing based on which Duskull you open. Maybe that's like letting like full RNG kind of take hold of like your opponent trying to guess what you're playing based on if you open Duskull. But you just play both. And then depending on which one you open, your opponent has to like make a guess based on
You're way
that.
too obsessed with this Duskull conversation.
I just think it's funny. I don't know. Yeah. Um,
Optimal Duskull.
I truly don't know which one is optimal to be honest,
Yeah, but the
but yeah,
Bouffalons are cool. We saw them actually like they're pretty good against Reggie Drago, right? Which was
yeah.
the matchup that Tord found himself up against in the finals.
I also imagine like they are decent against like Raging Bolts as well. They can still one hit KO you, but making them reach for that extra energy definitely is pretty good. Also played the Lost Vacuum. I'm sure one of the reasons for that has to be the increase in the bravery charms on those raging bolts. But then the rest of like the lineup here is um pretty much what you'd expect. I guess we don't see many people playing like the Pal Pad. So Tord really has, and I feel like Tord's builds recently. I think we've talked about this in the past, kind of just
Tord
talking about
plays
like,
Palpad in, like, every deck.
yeah.
When's the last time Tord didn't play Palpad at a tournament?
Honestly, that's a good. I think he played it in Lost Box as well. So
Yeah. He's played it in Charizard the whole way.
maybe one of the chart. No, he played the Yell Cheer. When he played Yell Cheer, he didn't have
Oh, that is
Palpad.
true at a
Although that would
UIC.
be, let's just confirm real fast because that'd be a little wild. Yell Cheer plus
No,
Palpad.
there was no Palpad in this list.
No Palpad, which makes sense. Which makes sense when you got the Yell Cheer in there. I'm curious now about the check Orlando. Oh, he probably played Yell Cheer. He probably played like the exact same list after UIC. Yeah,
Oh,
that.
no, I think he no, he did play Yelchier. It was
Yeah,
after this though, people did shift to Palpad instead. Oh, this was
this
when he
one.
had his control list.
2 Palpads, making up for the
Rocking
Yell
'em.
Cheers that he played previously. Gotta keep that one-to-one ratio of
Yeah,
tournaments to
yeah, yeah. Palpad's,
Palpads.
tournaments played ratio.
But yeah, maybe there's a little bit. I definitely underrated Terapagos going into this tournament, or just kind of in general in the current meta. I do. Maybe Bouffalants are kind of the missing piece, to be honest, to give it like a good enough matchup spread. Um, but we did have Caleb Rogerson like getting 11th, losing the winning in with a non-Bouffalant build, so it did kind of show up at this tournament. Uh, not like Drago did last tournament, but it did still show up
Yeah.
more so than it has recently.
I think one of the big stories here from this tournament is just looking at this top 8 and trying to figure out what the heck happened at this event because there are 2 Iron Thorns in top 8. There are also 2 Banette, and then there's also a Snorlax in top 8.
Yeah. And I before we get into those, we could take a look at Daniel's Drago build because he played a pretty interesting build. Also first year master. I've seen a lot of that recently. Decent runs from the first year
These
masters.
kids are too good, man. They're too
No
good at the game.
Radzard, no Jamming Tower, 2 fire, Haxorus,
No
Gudra,
Fezandipity.
no Dippity, no Noctowl, no Halucha as well. But yeah, I mean like the trainer lineup is pretty similar to what we're used to seeing, but the attacking lineup is definitely yeah, the no Fezandipity is he's pretty good. He's pretty good. So, yeah, definitely a pretty unique build here, to be honest.
Yeah, it has the Mew, and most people like so like before Shrouded Fable came out, when this deck was like kind of popping up post an AIC, people were all playing Mew. Shrouded Fable comes out, most people switch over to Fezandipity in kind of that like support Pokemon slot. Mew, I guess, does let you be a little bit more aggressive. Can also synergize with like the hand discarding cards that he has. Obviously, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Vessel in every single deck, but he does have 2 superior energy retrieval here as well. So you can theoretically like get some value from restart there. It just like lets you do more on your turn actively, like both like in the early turns of the game compared to Pheasantipity, which is stronger later.
Yeah, exactly. So you get that little bit of extra draw power potentially for the early game. It falls off after that once like the game starts going with it back and forth. But it's like continuous draw power on board throughout the game.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like you mentioned, the Bennett Gardevoirs here. The lists are a little bit different. Mateus, kind of the pioneer of the deck, made it to top 8. They actually hit each other in top 8, Magnus and Mateus. Mateus did lose that exchange. Some of the big things to point out here, I think, from Mateus's previous build. So this one is nobody in Alakazam, and then has the Screamtail in here instead. But besides that, it is the good old Bennett Gardevoir that I guess maybe some people aren't familiar with, but it is very much an item lock based deck through Bennett's first attack. And then Gardevoir EX is not only some form of energy acceleration, but also kind of your secondary attacker. And you have other options as well in there with like Monkey Dory to help you like just spread damage while you're item locking. Cleanups with like Mew EX and Screamtail can also come up as follow
Yeah.
up attackers. But probably the most successful deck I think on the weekend was because there was 2 in top 8, but it was probably like a 1% or
Oh yeah.
less play rate in day one, right?
Yeah, definitely had to be like a very low play rate. And we just see Magnus Peterson getting top 4 with the deck. Magnus, of course, is the 2018 Seniors World Champion, I believe.
I think so.
Um, has had some pretty solid tournaments in Masters over the last few years, but definitely another good run here. Has the Spiritomb in here. Also does have the Screamtail.
I think the only difference might be a gemstone over a trekking shoes, second gemstone over a trekking shoes. Also, somehow it also has 2 counter catcher in here,
Did
maybe over a
Mateus have
nest
the
ball.
Spiritomb still?
Yeah.
That's not the Spiritomb. Okay, yeah.
I think it's a nest ball and a gemstone for Gemstone over Check and Choose, and then second counter catcher over Nest Ball. A little bit more bench trapping, I guess, trapping something active from the bench.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I think this deck has always been pretty good. I think one of its weaker matchups has been Lugia, but there was, and also another weak matchup is Iron Thorns, which is kind of funny. So I don't know how much has helped, but there was two Iron Thorns in cut, which probably were part of the reason that Lugia was not able to push for another top 8 finish. I think it's top 8 at every tournament in this format, I want to say.
It's definitely been the
Um,
most successful deck, I would say, overall in this format.
yeah, but it struggled at this one. The highest placing one was like 40. Chi and Pao outplaced
44th.
Lugia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lugia struggled, and there wasn't like that much. I think day
Well,
one there was the 5% Iron Thorns.
not
Um,
only did Chien Pao outplace Lugia, there were also 3 gouging fires in top 32. I don't know if you
yeah,
caught that. Like,
yeah, we should definitely go through those as well. Um, yeah, the Thorns were there, feasting on the Lugias, of course. Lugia was, I think, is the most popular Lugia has been this format. It was like 12% day one, so Thorns were there to take advantage. And I mean, Thorns honestly, it's like its matches spread up in the current format. It's like pretty decent. You can beat most things with Thorns right now.
yeah. We do see Block Snorlax getting top 8 here.
Did play the Rotom.
Yep, we've got
We
the
see that.
Zerosix in here as well.
Didn't go. People aren't hopping on that no Rotom stall trend all the way. I don't even know how. Besides that, I don't know how the rest of the stalls. I don't know if any of the other stalls played Rotom or not.
True. Yeah, Alessandro here. He just played Mimikyu. Wow, look at this.
It's kind of funny. I'll see him like tweet out on Twitter. My understanding is that Alessandro made this deck for his dad at the last tournament, and then his dad made day two, and he didn't. I don't think. And then because his dad couldn't come to this event, he decided to play this deck instead. Is my
Mm.
understanding from the tweets I saw from Alessandro. I think so. Just the quad, just quad Mimikyu. I mean, you got some other squad in there as well, but Mimikyu is definitely the, I don't know, the front runner, the card you're going in with most aggressively, probably those ghost eyes, and we're attacking with it too. We got 3 psychics. We got
We're
a bunch of
taking
other
prize
energy.
cards.
Yeah, we're not messing around with this one. It's definitely an
We're
interesting deck. I haven't like actually looked at it hard enough to like break down its matchups, but like, I mean, it's probably not terrible. Like you like Mimikyu, the 4 Mimikyu's a lot of Mimikyu for a lot of decks to deal with. Like,
yeah. There's also a couple Golden Go in top 32 here. A few of the Gouging Fires, like we mentioned as well.
and these look pretty similar to the yellow build that we saw most recently at, where do we see it? Dortmund.
Dortmund, yep.
Yeah, Yella, I believe, made it to the winning end, but was not quite able to get the dub there, so did not make it into day two. Um, Gouging Fire. There's a couple of them. Are they all the same 60? No, they're not. That would have been pretty
No.
cool. I mean, I
No, that's the crazier part because this like another low meta share deck, right?
oh, 2 of them are the same 60.
No, this is Luke Kirkham's Lil Regionals
Oh,
build. Ashley Richards just played the same 60 that Luke played, but Luke changed it up a little bit. Where's Luke at? Right there,
I have to
27.
imagine. I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if they were all the same 60. Like with kind of like from Luke. Luke has definitely been the.
Mhm.
I mean, the one who's been hyping up the Gouging Fire recently with his results. You know, he's been on stream a couple times now. And got lost a winning in Lil,
Yo,
and then this time
the
Kieran.
Kieran's kind of cool in this deck.
Yeah,
It lets
the name.
Gouging Fire do 290 to a Charmed Raging Bolt.
Yeah, also with Monkey Dory KOs the Dragapults.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. I still don't know how I feel about Gouging Fire. It still feels like it's like fine. That's the way I feel about Golden Go as well. Like Golden Go's fine. Like they're solid. They're still a solid decks though. And I think like a big advantage of playing, like being really comfortable and familiar with one of these decks is your opponent is definitely not going to be comfortable against you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I think one of the more interesting decks was definitely this Terrapagos Palkia build with Volbeat and Illumise.
Gotta have yeah.
So, for those who don't know, the Volbeat here has the quick sign attack, which says if you go first, you can use its attack, but you can also use it like regularly throughout the rest of the game. But you get to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. You know, not a terrible attack. Get your board set up. Illumise is the really interesting one here. You can use this attack only if you go second and only during your first turn. Shuffle one of your opponent's benched Pokemon and all attached cards into their deck. So it's kind of like a tempo card, right? Like slow
Yeah.
down what your opponent did on turn one to put the tempo back in your favor.
Yeah. Oscar was in my chat actually before Gdansk, and he was like, "Azul, I'm gonna prove to you that Palkia Area Zero is good." And then he was in my chat earlier or yesterday, and he was like, "All right, Azul, now what do you think about Palkia Area Zero?" I was like, "All right, I mean, I like the build. It's a cool build. I don't know if I'm convinced." The Jet Energy, like the Jet Energy combo, just kind of for tempo, because like Palkia is such a like self-sufficient Pokemon, right? That's like why Palkia Dustin are so good because like Palkia can do so much by itself. You can enable the Radiant Greninja. You can play so much stuff around it, like the Volbeat and the Illumise to like gain tempo, like you said. One card now that I'm curious, I wish I had asked Oscar about this was where's the Screamtail EX? Where's the Screamtail? That card is so sick. I'm waiting for that card to have its moment, and it feels like it would fit really well into here. Its first attack for a colorless energy says your opponent can't play a supporter, and you can only use this attack on your first turn going second. Maybe the Illumise is just better. It also Illumise is also a single prize Pokemon, so I can understand. But I've been like hyping this card up, but when this first card got revealed, I'm like, this is gonna be good at some point. It's gonna find a home. Um, we haven't found it yet. We're still searching for a home for
Screamtail is still searching for a
but,
home.
but I'm curious if Oscar actually tried it out because it definitely seems like something that like if you're on this kind of wavelength with this style of Palkia deck, like that would be something that'd be worth trying out for sure.
So I
Also,
mean,
you
we're
get the cheese fan rotom turn one attacks with those jets as well. It's like another thing you can do.
also something else I'm really noticing from this event is that Gardevoir performed pretty reasonably well. We see Michael Hunter, got ninth place
Yeah.
here, but there's also another one in top 16, Matthew, and then another one in top 16 from David.
Yeah, so 3 in top 16. Yeah, it is decent, and Gardevoir's definitely been a deck. I haven't been a huge fan of it recently myself. Seeing it perform is cool. I know Hunter was playing the turbo build. This is the slow build here.
Yep, from
The
Matthew.
secret box in the slow build kind of confuses me a little bit. It feels weird to have that instead of unfair samp in the slower build. Maybe it does make sense. That's always a little bit off putting to me when I see it. Here's a turbo build here,
Yep.
which where the secret box makes a lot more sense to be honest. Um, when I think about it. And that
Uh,
still feels like the, probably the best way to kind of play the deck is like that turbo style.
Stefan also got top 32 with the deck using Henry Chow's Louisville list.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, I did a show match earlier between, uh, Henry Chow, Abonamed, who you see there, who played Henry's, the same list as Henry at Louisville, and, Josh Frank versus Isaiah Bradner, Andrew Hedrick, and
Michael
Michael
Davidson.
Davidson, Drago versus Guardy. And Guardy won 4-1. It was, and a lot of the games were not close. I'm not trying to say Guardy's 100% favored against Drago or anything like that, but I was like reasonably convincing that it definitely seems like a fine matchup for sure. Which is one of the things that I've always felt like is iffy for Guardy in the format is that Drago matchup. Um, but hey, man, if Turbo Guardy is really that good, we did really perform here for sure. Definitely performed. It's always cool to have like more decks on the board. Um, Even if it means some other decks become bad, the shifting of the meta is always cool.
So yeah, what do we make of this event here? This late into the format, we're seeing a ton of different stuff popping up still.
I mean, I think the big deck missing here is Lugia, right?
Yeah.
And like I have to imagine Lugia underperformed a little bit, despite because you look at all these decks and it's like
Lugia does pretty good against a lot of these decks.
it's fine, right? Like the Guardi Turbo Guardi, I think maybe has the edge against Lugia, even without a tech, even without a Sinnoh or an E Hammer. But against most of the other decks, you're fine, except for Thorns. But it wasn't like Thorns was like overwhelmingly popular. So I think it's a combination of Thorns was more popular than it has been, and it just had a bad run. I think it just had a rough run overall from Lugia. But I think like Lugia is like if you run this tournament again, there's probably a
Consta was
Lugia
even
top
ready for
eight.
the thorns here with the
Fluttermane, yeah.
yeah, has the flood.
Yeah. So I had like the tech card in there. But yeah, if you resimulate this tournament, I think there's a Lugia in top eight. I'd bet on Lugia being in the top eight there. Because I don't think Thorns was that big of a roadblock for Lugia here overall. So but I honestly this like it makes it almost like I feel like Lugia is like a scarier deck going into LAIC. Then there's like no hype around it. It like makes it like that much better of a play. It's gonna like be less checked, I guess. Like I don't think Regidragos are cutting their Temple of Sinnohs or anything like that, but you know, I don't know if Zard players will play an E-Hammer or whatever. We'll see them. But yeah, I don't think there's like too much. I think maybe besides that, maybe Terapagos with Buffalon is like better than its recent performances. Um, maybe a little bit underrated, possibly, or maybe just the best player in the world got second at a tournament with a good deck, with a decent deck.
That is possible too. Yeah, we'll
So,
talk more about LAIC in our episode next week. A reminder again, that episode will be coming out Monday morning this coming week. So, really just a few days from right now. But yeah, let's really quickly recap our predictions from the weekend heading into Gdansk. Our first prediction was, will a European win? We both said no, I think mostly for the meme, but Alberto proved us wrong by getting the win, being from Italy, being in Europe. We did not get that prediction correct.
yeah, not quite. I was rooting for dude. I was all in on Rogerson going into the winning in. I forget who Rogerson actually lost to on the winning in. I'm trying to remember. It was actually Alberto, but I was really happy to see Alberto get the win. So for me, it was kind of like, all right, well, we can't keep the meme alive, but Alberto's in cut. I wouldn't mind seeing Alberto get the dub in the
Dang.
end. So
Rogerson had a pretty dang good tournament, dude, coming over from the US. I just looked at the Poké data, and the only people he lost to in the tournament were the people who got first and second place.
yeah, not bad. Also, the Australians, Kywin almost went into day two 8-0. Kywin and James are 7-1 going into day two, and then kind of fell apart from there. Brent also, I believe, was like, I think Brent was like 503 or something going into day two,
He and
or
James
not quite
tied. What the heck?
512. Yeah, what is going on there? What could they have
Someone's got to
tied?
get a
Could they have
dub
tied
there,
and both made
fellas.
it? Maybe they could have tied and both made it still. Oh no, not quite. Yeah, it's a 9-2, 9-2-1. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, the Australians were definitely looking pretty good going into day two, but it kind of fell apart there. So we're kind of heavily relying on them to keep the meme alive. It's okay. We'll just reset it. Like, it's just a little bit of a reset. We'll pick it back up going into, I don't even know what the next European regional is, but we'll make sure Europe doesn't win. We'll do our
Oh my.
best.
Only if you go, right? You have to go over to make sure it doesn't happen. Maybe? No? Okay. How many Reggie Drago in cut? Next prediction. You said two. I
Ooh,
said three.
it was
Easy buckets
2.
for you on this one, buddy.
Yeah. Also, one thing I will mention about the cut, it was clean at X and 2. There was a potential for an X2-1 to make cut, but like I said a couple episodes ago now, 95% of top cuts are going to be X and 2 clean. It would just be nice to know, like, just even it out for that 5% of events that are going to probably, because like events coming up, like LAIC could be one of them where X2 whiffs cut, I believe, and so could Sacramento, because the numbers are like lining up where that is possible. I don't know. It'd be really unsatisfying to be watching LAIC and seeing so many people who are X and 2 just like not make cuts. So hopefully it doesn't happen, but I think the numbers are lining up where it could happen.
And then our last prediction was, what would be the highest placing Snorlax deck, and would they play Rotom? You gave it a top 16. I gave it a top 4. The reality was a top 8. We both predicted no Rotom. But Alex, who got top 8, did indeed still keep the Rotom in the deck.
What was the highest placing non-Rotom build? Was there any? Because there was a couple other in like top 32. Actually,
Let's see. We can
curious
do a
now.
quick little look here. Andrea here played Rotom. We've got Millie also played Rotom. We've got Alessio did not play the
Hey,
Rotom. We
there we
got the box
go.
order with the top 32 finish.
Okay, I was curious like if it caught on at all. It's really interesting with those kind of things sometimes because sometimes it is the better way to do it. It's just yeah, like let's just say theoretically no Rotom Snarl is just a better deck, right? The higher win percentage is the no Rotom build, but
Mhm.
sometimes it's just really hard for those things to catch on. Like if Sander had
Well,
won the
especially because
tournament,
Snorlax has, like, already been so ingrained as a deck for,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
such a long time now with Rotom, right? The people who want to play it, it's like they're less likely to change off of what they know and what they've been playing.
Yeah, that's true as well. That's true as well. But I feel like the deck doesn't change that much. Like your win conditions are still pretty similar. Push Marxing are active. Counter catch your opponent's bench Pokemon. Repeat. But now you don't have like a bigger liability on your bench. But I'm not saying it is the better way to play it either. I'm just saying like it's always curious. Like sometimes the better way to play it has been discovered, and like everyone knows about it, or most people know about it. Like a lot of people when Sander did well with that build, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, the no Rotom build. It's crazy. It's wild. But then it's like, yeah, is it the better play? I don't know for sure. I haven't played that much with both of them, so I don't really have that strong of an opinion. Um, but sometimes even if it is the better way to play it, it like takes a while. Like if Sander had won the tournament, I think we would see like everyone be playing the no Rotom build, but obviously that didn't happen. Which is interesting how things evolve in the meta in the Pokemon TCG.
All right, Azul. I think that's all we've got this week. You got anything else you want to say to the people?
Nope. Thanks for listening. Chip, send us out.
Yeah, thanks a bunch for listening. And reminder that next week's episode will be coming out Monday morning as opposed to Wednesday morning. We do appreciate the support as always. Be sure to leave us a like, review, a comment, subscribe. All those things help us out a bunch. And if you want to stay up to date with us and what's going on in our world, you can follow us over on X. You can follow myself at Chip Ritchie, Azul at Azul_GG. And you can follow the podcast at Uncommon_Energy.
Yeah, appreciate the support as always. I'll catch y'all next week, Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern. I assume we're still going to release it at the
Yeah.
same time. Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern. And if you want more content from us, check out the bonus episode.